So at Easy 8A, we've been taking a lot of calls lately where people are concerned that the 8A program may be going away. So this video, I'm going to go through why I don't think that's going to be the case. Really not at all, and kind of go through maybe a little bit of a contrarian point of view as to why now may be a really good time to get into the 8A program. If you look at us, we've been completing 8A applications for people for over 20 years. So we've gone through a bunch of different administrations, some Democrat, some Republican, and we've seen a lot of different changes along the way. However, we've never really seen anything that would affect the long-term sustainability of the 8A program, the SBA's marquee certification. If we look at what's going on right now politically in the country, the Republicans have about a 5-seat advantage in the House, and it's doubtful that that would even be able to bring through any type of meaningful legislation to the 8A program that could potentially eliminate it, because the votes for the Republican Party just wouldn't be there. On the Senate side, the Senate, obviously they have the filibuster to contend with, but on top of that, the Senate Republicans tend to be much more positive about the 8A program than other politicians, and therefore it would be unlikely that you would even be able to get to the 50 votes to make any meaningful changes to the 8A certification. The likelihood that legislation actually affects the 8A program is very doubtful. Now, if we look at DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and what kind of they're up to, they've got a couple different mandates they're looking at with their government efficiency, I think all of which are going to have positive outcomes. But the first is that they're going to eliminate a lot of the grants for things that don't make sense, where we hear that they've done a study to see what type of carrot bunnies prefer to eat or something like that. Additionally, DOGE is going to go and eliminate a lot of the redundancy, white elephant projects, and a lot of pork they see in the budget. Typically, 8A firms are not engaged in this type of activity. 8A firms are usually given kind of steady stream work, for example, maintaining facilities, putting on new roofs on Army bases, things like that on the construction side. And then on the professional services and IT side, usually 8A firms are engaging in projects that are designed to reduce redundancy within the federal government or somehow increase or boost efficiency. So each dollar spent on those IT should be yielding dollars back down the road. So therefore, those projects are positive to the federal environment. So it's doubtful that there'll be a meaningful change due to DOGE. Now, the one thing I will say is the SBA, in an environment where there's political scrutiny on their program, it will cause themselves to kind of clamp down a little bit on the program and who gets into the program and how they treat participants once they're in the program. So a firm that is looking to get into the 8A program, there probably will be additional scrutiny applied to their application through the process, because the SBA will look at this and say, okay, we do not want any type of excuse to give Congress the ability to kind of go after the program. We don't want someone that's done $80 million worth of contracts that should never have been in the program and the firm was a complete fraud. So they will be clamping down to making sure that things like that don't happen or pop up in the press. And additionally to that, I would expect more scrutiny in the annual reviews. So making sure that you're going over 8A annual review, and if you're unsure of something, making sure you're having a professional look at that. I will say there is a little bit of a contrarian to this, because we're taking so many calls where people are not sure whether they want to get into the 8A program right now because they're worried that the 8A program isn't going to exist. You're only permitted in the program for a 9-year period of time. After that, you will have graduated from the program. Every year, we need to get new firms on the 8A program, or the federal government will not have enough 8A firms to purchase from all that they need to meet their requirements. Additionally, the 8A firms, they're able to get contracts much faster, and so they do aid the federal procurement officer by being able to help them get procurements through in a much quicker, fulfilling their needs, weeks instead of 210 days to get a contract through with an 8A firm. With that said, back in 2000 was the high water mark for 8As. There was about 10,000 in the program now. We're at about 6,000 or 6,500 right now, so we're around 60 to 65% of that high water mark. If firms decide not to get into the program because of these concerns that they have, then that will create additional opportunity. The average 8A firm is doing about $5.5 million per year in federal contracts. So that's as good as it's ever been for 8A firms. And if less firms begin to apply, we could see that number go up more and more. So at the end of the day, I think now is a fantastic time to get into the 8A program. I would not worry about any meaningful changes. At least that's our opinion. And if you have any questions about anything 8A related, feel free to give us a call. As always, we appreciate you watching this video, and click the subscribe button if you'd like more content like this. Thanks.